this event, people from Amazon and Alexa made it very clear that in addition to Sports Highlight coming up, you will be able to perhaps buy sports tickets to events, buy movie tickets, arrange fantasy football teams, and I think somewhere down the road, maybe not too far down the road, given the NBA on Prime deal, they will allow sports betting on the television set through Alexa Plus.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback, the way he's playing right now, in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Well, maybe that Chiefs dynasty is actually crumbling. And listen, I don't blame you for that, but you would be wrong. Here's what actually happened in that game last night. See, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much up and down that field. They outgained them, Donnie. You ready by this? By over 150 yards of offense.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Question, where's the $100,000 gone? Like, if they're going to give it to Amari DiMercato as an apology? It does give us a little bit of insight, though, into that moment. Like, I wondered what Gannon had said to DiMercato there. It obviously did, it cost Arizona a football game in a division that they cannot afford. But that is an interesting one.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Scott Wetzel, Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time. No doubt watching and hopefully betting on the world of sports and making some shekels along the way. Busy night for sure tonight. We got Game 1 World Series. It's here after having 4 days off in Toronto. Big news with Bo Bichette, who's in the lineup, but you won't believe where he's in the lineup, believe it or not, tonight. We got that. We got NHL. We got NBA. We got opposite picks. We got a little bit of everything tonight, so it should be a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. Before we get to it all, it is game time. What's ticking you off tonight, Gabe, or betting you off tonight?
We're ready to rock. Countdown to first pitch is on right now. Absolutely awesome scene in Toronto. The first World Series in Toronto in 32 years. Should be noted the Blue Jays are 2-0 in the World Series before. Right, they've never lost a World Series. They've been in 2 World Series since 1992 and 1993, and they won them both. But awesome scene. Major League Baseball has done a great job with this. Has a Super Bowl big feel to it. With the choirs, the anthems were great. The atmosphere is great in there. So I think this is going to be a very, very. I think it's going to be the most the biggest global World Series ever, with Japan and Canada, obviously, and the Dominican Republic and all these countries, but. I think in the U.S. as well, this is going to be a very, very talked about and highly rated World Series.
All right. With that, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I can hear a lot of people saying, start the game. Will you please? Well, because they're not starting the game, it allows us, about 10 minutes or so to get our picks in one more time. Opening pickoff game. I'll go first with the Dodgers. You know what? It's the last, in essence, the last bet. We're going to make bets throughout the World Series, but this is the last bet. So you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I won't lay the game and a half, even though I don't think it'll go 7 games. Give me the Dodgers minus the 220. I think they win the World Series. Nice and simple.
I'm already on the Dodgers at plus 330 and other numbers, so I'm going to attack this game tonight. Listen, it's a big game. The winner of Game 1 has been super successful and gone on to win the World Series. So it does matter, but it kind of doesn't. But I think that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be a little bit overhyped tonight. We saw them lose the first 2 games against Seattle on their home field. The atmosphere is just next level in there. The Dodgers are a little bit used to it. I think they can calm their nerves a little bit more than the Blue Jays. I give the Blue Jays a better chance to win tomorrow's game than tonight's game. Give me Blake Snell and the Los Angeles Dodgers, minus 154.
All right. I got a bunch of other baseball bets. I'll get to those in a second. For this opening pickoff, I'll switch over to hockey. Give me the under 5.5 Calgary and Winnipeg. Winnipeg coming off a 3-0 rare home shutout loss last night to Seattle. I think they're going to play their A game, and their A game is shutting the opposition down. Calgary's lost 7 in a row. They can't score with a $20 bill and a cheap Raffle House. Give me the under 5.5 Calgary, Winnipeg.
I'm going to take the under in game 1 of the World Series. We have a total of 7.5. Now, listen, you can buy a half a run and make it 8 for not that expensive. And in fact, it's only minus 130. I don't think the Blue Jays are going to hit Snell. Savage, I'm not really sure about. He got hit once in the playoffs and he looked good. He's looked good another couple of times. He's got a really, really, really nasty splitter that like really just sort of a dive bomb and it gets into the dirt. But he's also the second youngest pitcher ever to start a World Series, game 1 of the World Series before. And we're going back to like the 30s. He's 22 years old. He's only been in the big leagues for like a month and a half or so, and they're rolling him out in game 1. But his stuff is tricky. So I don't think there's going to be a ton of runs on the board tonight. Let's go under the number in this baseball game. Game 1 goes under.
All right. I like that, actually. Mine, next one, NBA. Let's go over 233.5, San Antonio, New Orleans. Man, I don't know how this one stays under. I know we've had nothing but overs. 14-2 now over in the 16 games this NBA season. I'm going to play almost all of them tonight, Gabe, but the one that really stands out to me, over 233.5, Spurs and New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, speaking of overs, I've got an over, but I'm all about the World Series tonight. Blake Snell, his over-under out prop tonight is 17.5. So, in other words, he needs to go 6 innings to get to 18 outs. If he started 3 playoff games, he went 7 innings, 6 innings, and 8 innings, just for the record. So, he's never gone less than 6 innings so far in the playoffs. I don't think the Dodgers want to test their bullpen. They want to get, I think they want to see their bullpen as little as humanly possible. Unfortunately, Vesia is not on the the World Series roster. I think Snell, I'll be surprised if Snell doesn't go at least 6. Let's go over 17.5 outs with Blake Snell tonight.
All right. My last one will be Boise State laying 21.5. I would actually buy the hook down to 21. But for our purposes, I'll just say, 21.5 against Nevada. Death system in play here, and I'm not making light of it. I'm not. But former Bronco running back Doug Martin passed away this week, only 36 years old. He's like really also one of the all-time best Boise State Broncos. So I can't help it. They're playing with a little chip on their shoulder, win one for the Gipper. However you want to describe it, these teams need a reason to beat a team by 20-plus points. Nevada's the worst team in the Mountain West as well. This has got 44-10 written all over it. Give me Boise State laying to 21.
I'll have some picks for this game a little bit later on. But, yeah, it should be a rout. I don't disagree. So we're all in on Blake Snell tonight. We talked about his out prop, 17.5. Now, on our pickoff, we give 4 picks here. I got more. I posted them online. So I do like his strikeouts over 6.5, even though the Jays don't strike out a lot. It doesn't matter. I still think he's going to strike out 8 or 9 of them tonight. But Max Muncy, guys. So listen, you can go with the standard guys, right? The Freemans and the Otanis and the Mookie Betts of the world when it comes to total bases. But I'm always a fan of finding the guy when it's 0.5. So essentially, I just got to get a hit. Like a single wins the bet for me. And I'm not even laying much juice here with Max Muncy at minus 125. And incidentally, Max Muncy is one of the best splitter hitters on the Dodgers. The 3 guys that hit the splitter the best are Otani, Freeman, and Max Muncy on the Dodgers. All right, and they struggle. Everybody in baseball struggles with this splitter right now, not just your Savages, but it's a pitch that nobody can hit. Snell uses it a lot as well. So I'm just throwing it out there. Max Muncy does hit the splitter. Let's go Max Muncy over 0.5 total bases. Minus 125. And here's one that you'll like, Scott. Well, let's get to Bo Bichette. Bichette back in the lineup, which, all right, you got to play the guy. I get it. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He also hasn't played in over a month. I'm surprised that they're batting him in the cleanup spot. right? They're throwing him. They must believe that, listen, no, he can hit live pitching. We're not worried about it. He can't run, but he can hit the baseball. Yet he hasn't faced live pitching in over a month. He's faced Snell 9 times before. Snell has struck him out 4 of the 9 times. And now you're going to face him when you haven't seen any live pitching in a month besides simulation games and stuff. Bo Bichette to strike out at least once tonight is minus 160. I like Bichette to strike out at least once tonight.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I'll give you 3. Here's a few more World Series ones. I'll put 3 in one. You could bet this for at least 1 home run in every World Series game, 2 home runs in every World Series game, and then even 3 home runs in every World Series game. The 1 is minus 185. I think we're going to get that. 2 is plus 380. I don't think we're really going to get 3, but if this is a short 4 or 5 game series, and the Dodgers dominate like I think they might, Toronto certainly could hit some home runs. It's 40-1 right now on FanDuel to have 3 home runs in every single game. Every once in a while, I'll put a play-in game. I will. That I don't really think is going to hit. But you know what? If it does for 40-1, you put a couple shekels on it. I'm going to do those 3. How about this one? This is maybe my favorite one of all. The Dodgers to lead 2-1 after 3 games at plus 115. Now, I know you're not a big hedger, but if you make that bet, the only way you really don't have action heading into a game 3 is if the Dodgers lose the first 2. And I really don't think that's going to happen. Any kind of luck, the Dodgers win the first 2, and now you can hedge on Toronto in game 3 at plus, almost 2-1 odds, I would say. We'll talk about it when we come back and more bets. In-game live game day here on the Grid.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in-game live game day here on the Grid. So our bets are in place. I also, by the way, real quickly got a bet on any game to go extra innings in the World Series at plus 115. So you were talking Bo Bichette, Gabe. What about Bichette playing at second base for the first time in his career? The guy hasn't played in a month and a half, and now you're playing him at a position he's never played, at least not in the majors, at second base. What do you think about that?
It could come to hurt
He's
their
a shortstop,
defense.
naturally.
It could. And we have our first pitch of the game. So the World Series has begun. and it's a ball for the record. He threw his splitter into the dirt. So it's just like, I'm telling you, this is the key to the game.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers have had a week, Scott, to like watch the game tape of this kid's pitches. So they've never seen him before, but they have a week. They know what he's going to do. They know his stuff. So if they lay off his best pitch, he could start to grasp a little bit here. This is like the toughest test Savage has faced yet, as far as the deep lineup is concerned. He's going right after Ohtani, and he's got him in a 1-2 count here already. But yeah, with Bichette, Scott, I'm surprised. I thought they would DH him. He can't really run, right? His injury, so he can still swing the bat, and he's been hitting for the last couple of weeks still. So that's why I guess they figure I can hit still. But he's not a good defensive player to begin with. So I've already DH, but they didn't want to make Springer's on fire, and Springer's the DH. So they didn't want to make change Springer's role and make him play right field. But I tell you what, Scott, that middle infield right now that was so good with the Blue Jays and Jimenez as a Gold Glover really could be suspect up the middle with Bichette playing defense there right now.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm not a big John Schneider. Boy, he strikes out a ton. I mean, he as great as he is, and he's great.
Yeah, it's all or nothing with him. Like it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
He either smokes the ball or he strikes out. Like it's just a point blank. You know, he smokes the ball and he'll strike out a couple of times, but he'll make contact as the game goes on. But nice, good. That's got to be confidence building for a 22-year-old to strike out Ohtani with the first at bat, though.
Yeah. I'll say this like I was going to say, John, a game with John Schneider, right? I don't have any dog in a fight with him. I know a lot of people don't like him, whatever, but I'll give him credit, man. He's going out on a limb. Like, there are a number of things that you could challenge him. If this Toronto Blue Jays team doesn't win, Bo Bichette hitting cleanup, Bo Bichette playing second base in a World Series game, a position he's never played, having the rookie pitch. You could easily go with Kevin Gausman tonight. You could have done that. They go with Savage. So he's not afraid to make some crazy statements. And
nice roll. He rolls the dice. You're right.
Yeah.
No, they'll live and die with it. Now, it's not him completely. Obviously, you got Rod. You got Atkins, who's the the baseball guy. You got Donnie Baseball. Don Mattingly, of course, is there in the room. Obviously, the Savage one surprised me a little bit. He looks good so far. Like he's got Mookie in a 2-2 count now. He looks good. The thing that surprised me with Savage, Scott, is all three of Savage's playoff starts have been at home. He hasn't pitched on the road. Which makes sense, right? All right, we got this kid.
Right.
He's really good, but let's not put too much on the plate here. Let's just pitch him at home, and don't pitch him at Yankee Stadium. Don't make him pitch in Seattle. He'll pitch at home. Him pitching, Scott, in Game 1 makes him up in Game 5 now in L.A. Yeah, you pitch him in Game 2,
right,
and then he's back at home in Game 6 after, right? So they decided, all right, don't forget Gausman pitched relief in the Game 7 against the Mariners. I think Gausman would have started, but so I think it was basically, let's give Gausman a full break. Gausman had pitched a couple of times in relief, so I think it was like give him a break. But Savage looks good so far. He's mowing him down. Mookie Betts just grounded out.
Mm-hmm. So, and he's got the advantage also of the Dodgers obviously not facing him, and maybe they think we've seen this with these young pitchers. Whether it's Savage or whoever, first time you approach him and see him, little different. But again, that goes back to, though, if you think it's going to be a longer series, if you're Toronto, then do you really want him being number 5 versus number 6? But
they trust him, obviously. He's going to be pitching in a big game. One thing, and listen, we'll see with the Blue Jays, because there's a lot of talk about the Dodgers being off for a week. So they played Friday. Let's call it 6 days. They were off. So they've been off 6 days, but whatever. The Blue Jays played on Monday. So the Blue Jays have been off for, last 4 days themselves. As well. But that being stated, I guess we shouldn't be shocked here, Scott. First inning here, adrenaline's going for everybody, and the Dodgers hitters haven't seen live balls, man, in a week right now, right? So I'm not expecting to put a ton of runs up in the first inning. I think we've lost Scott for a second here. He's got some technical issues. So, yeah, listen, I didn't mess with Savage's strikeout prop. I almost did. It was 5.5. And I thought, is the kid really going to strike out 6 people, in his first, World Series start? You're 22 years old. Yet his stuff is nasty, and I'd never seen it before. So he got 1 strikeout. He struck out Ohtani, and he just got Freeman to ground out. So the Blue Jays are coming up here right now. Otani seems to be talking to someone about Savage's stuff there. So no score after the top of the first inning. We did bet the under of this game. Now we got Blake Snell. Now Blake Snell has been basically unhittable right in the playoffs. 14 consecutive scoreless innings for Blake Snell. 28 strikeouts in his 3 playoff starts for Snell. He won 8 innings last time. A prop that I gave before the series started, I did a video and I posted it online. I talked about it on the show this week, is will any pitcher record a complete game in this series? Now, complete games have become ancient history, right? Obviously, in Major League Baseball now, in the modern analytical era, pitchers going 5-6 innings type of deal. But the Dodgers don't trust their bullpen. And the Dodgers starting pitching is the strength of this team. Yeah, even better than their hitting. The Dodgers put runs up on the board, but they don't score 10 runs a game, right? The Dodgers win 4-1 or whatever, So the strength of the team is the starting pitching. We've seen this year in the postseason, the Dodgers have let the starters basically go for the most part. Roberts made a mistake once, and he kind of learned his lesson. He said, all right, from now on, we're just going to let him go from here on out. Yamamoto did complete a game. So you're getting plus 1,400 for any pitcher to record a complete game. They don't have to save their arms, right? I mean, this is it. Right, especially the second time around when they pitch. It'll be like, right, this is the last start of the year. Like, we don't have to worry about a pitch count. We have to worry about this or that. So Snell won 8 innings. And don't forget, one of the defining moments of Blake Snell's career was he was mowing them down in the World Series when he was on the Tampa Bay Rays, and they took him out of the game too early, and he's been bitter ever since.
Yeah. Interesting. Not a bad little number, 14-1. All right, more coming up in Game Live.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. It is In-Game Live Game Day here on the Grid. We are underway. So is World Series game number 1. Gabe likes the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers. Gabe likes the under of this game. I like the under of this game as well. 7.5. Gave that up to the podcast guys. They just showed a sign on TV, Gabe, with Blake Snell 3 postseason starts, he's got an ERA of 0.86. It's like, you wonder sometimes about how, certain guys just don't perform well in the postseason. And other guys just can have better numbers than he has obviously in a regular season. I mean, he's been basically unhittable. So that's why I like the under. I thought the Savage kid would pitch well enough. And I don't know how many runs Toronto's going to get, but this has got 2-1, 3-2 to me written all over tonight.
Blake Snell, a offseason acquisition for the Los Angeles Dodgers, right? Look, the past couple of years, the Dodgers have run out of pitchers all the time by the time the playoffs come around. Their pitchers were always hurt, and they always had good intentions, and their staff looked good, and then it would be like, oh, my God, we got to start Walker Buehler 3 times in this series on 3 days rest. They were always sort of in a helter-skelter, day-by-day operation, so they loaded up on pitchers this year. Snell really wanted to be a Dodger, and he's delivered in the postseason, right? I mean, his legacy, and Ken Rosenthal brought this up earlier in the week about basically Blake Snell has a Hall of Fame on the line here right now, Scott, in this series. With the way that he has pitched, he's won a Cy Young in both leagues, all right? You want a Cy Young in the American League, you want a Cy Young in the National League. All he's missing is the World Series title, right? He's got the personal accolades. You add this, so imagine, right? Cy Young in both leagues, dominant playoff run with the World Series Dodgers. You're a Hall of Famer in a modern era, as you and I discussed a couple of weeks ago. Throw out that whole 300 games and and all those numbers and stuff with pitchers. It's the modern pitcher. Obviously, Scott's going to be reanalyze his numbers. He could still be a Hall of Famer, but. He and listen, Ken Rosenthal, he's credible as it gets, as Rosenthal said. And Rosenthal's a voter, and he basically said, yeah, this will cement him as a Hall of Famer, basically, winning this World Series the way he's pitching. Yeah.
It's amazing how things can, does it make you any better because you're on a better team and you have more success versus if you're on a lousy team and, it doesn't, but in the public's eye, it certainly will. You're on national TV so many more times. You're in high-pressure situations. So a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it helps your profile. But you know what I mean? It's not, they don't use they didn't win a World Series against you like they do in the NBA. The NBA is kind of the only league, right? The Super Bowl, the NFL, it sort of comes up a bit. But look, Marv Levy's in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? The guy lost 4 Super Bowls, right? We can go, Bud Grant, we can go down the list, Scott, right? Jim Kelly, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
There's a ton of great players in the NFL and in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that didn't win. The NBA seems to be the one. And hockey as well, it seems to be the big thing. You can, you need to have that one cup. You got to get your name on the cup to get that legendary status in the NHL.
Probably, I think the reason with baseball is the season is so long. And then everyone says it. Once you get to the postseason, anything can happen. You're at the mercy of your players doing well, and you can have the greatest
one great player
season.
Can't change anything in baseball anyways,
yeah.
right? So it's, you can be the best player ever. Does it really Ted Williams, a pretty good player. Did he win a World Series, right?
Yeah.
We can go down the list of guys. Yeah.
So
you got to be lucky to win. You got to be on a good team, and then it's point blank. You got to have a good owner. You got to be on a good team. You got to be with a bunch of guys that want to win. And then even after all that, then you got to get lucky once you get into the playoffs, right? It's not that easy to win. It's not like teams win 5 World Series in a row or anything all the time. And the Blue Jays are chipping away here. They got a walk, and now Bichette in his first at bat actually squibs a little single to right field.
Ooh. First and
we
third.
question him batting fourth, and boom, he comes through.
Yeah.
They have Scott. The first 2 outs, the ball barely got out of the infield. A little squib pop fly, a little harmless little grounder to shortstop. Vlad walks, and same thing here with Bichette. Bichette barely hit it. It's just a squibber that went through the hole in between first and second base type of deal. And now, they got first and third with 2 out. Wow.
Yeah. See, this is what, Toronto needs in order to beat the Dodgers. You got to have certain things just happen. And one of them is Blake Snell to be the regular season Blake Snell, not the postseason that we just talked about. Not that he's awful in the regular season, but his pitch count is the key. He was able to go 8 innings his last game because his pitch count was so low. But he historically goes for 20, 25 pitches an inning. He's at 17 right now, still in the first inning because he didn't go 1, 2, 3. That's what you need, Toronto people. So more coming up in Game Live.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Already critical situation. Bottom of the first inning. We last left you. Nothing really has changed. We got runners on first and third. 2 out. I got a 3-2 count game on Alejandro Kirk. So, all right.
Snell is up to 22 pitches.
Count, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not so much about the pitch count, but just that he is sort of, like you said, this is what the Jays have done all year. And this is the strength, right? They were the number one contact team in baseball. They worked the count better than anybody in baseball. They racked the pitch count up better than anybody in baseball. And the Dodgers had the number one whiff rate. Early in the chess match, advantage Blue Jays. They ain't whiffing, right? The Dodgers whiffed. The Dodgers were sort of caught off guard by you Savage more. But these Blue Jay hitters, they're professional hitters, these guys. They're a dangerous team.
Yeah.
And
first and third.
Oh, dear God. Kirk just lined I'm telling you, man, the Blue Jays have a lot of luck going on. He just squibbed one down the first baseline. It would have been serious trouble, but it was 2 feet foul. Wow. Oof. Still full count.
Still full count. Let's bring out our good buddy Adam Kaufman, SportsGrid host. You see it here all the time here on the grid. What's going on, Adam? What side are you on? World Series Game 1 and for the series itself?
So for the series itself, this will make Gabe happy with that jersey he's rocking. I invested in the Dodgers -1.5 on the series spread. So as long as this thing doesn't go beyond 6 and LA wins it, that to me seemed like the right way to play it. There'll be some game-to-game investments as well. Probably not much for me on the prop market. It gets a little wonky here this time of year, obviously. I might look at some sides if I see advantageous opportunities. The only thing I have on this game here tonight is the over 7.5 runs. Just looking at, we know this Dodgers pitching staff obviously just embarrassed Milwaukee in the previous round. I mean, historically bad performance out of the Brewers and a decent enough lineup there for the Brew Crew. But this Dodgers pitching staff, as good as it is, I like these bats over here for Toronto. Now, I like the LA total package, the pitching, the hitting, all of it. I mean, this team is truly generational, for lack of a better way of putting it. I mean, in many ways, they look better, at least at this time of the year, than they did all of last year when they won the World Series. I know they dealt with a lot of injuries throughout the regular season, finished well under the win total, all that stuff this year, but they are hot as can possibly be at exactly the right time. Even still, I do think we're going to get some runs. I think the Dodgers, obviously, with all the potency of that lineup, is going to find a way to produce against what, to me, is not a terribly impressive pitching staff for Toronto. I'm sort of half shocked that they're even still playing at this point. I was going against them in every round, and I just keep being proven wrong. I hope that doesn't happen again here with LA, but I think we're going to get runs throughout this series, and it starts tonight.
Varsho up with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
1 and 2 count.
I'm rooting for LA, but that could open some things up as far as the total here in this game, potentially.
This is a big, like, turning point of this game. Like, they've already, it's an advantage to Blue Jays, even if, like, all right, so Dodgers get out of this.
Wow.
The Dodgers get out of it. Varsho pops out to center field. But still, if you're the Blue Jays, that was a nice start. Like, just the way that you got to Snell, and Snell did not look dominant. Maybe he calms down in the next inning.
Well, and take up the pitch count early on, too.
Yeah. That's what I mean by they lost the battle in the inning, but maybe they won the war knowing that, all right, you're probably going to get now 3 innings out of the Dodger bullpen. Would we see Clayton Kershaw, who is on the postseason roster today? Would he be one that they rely on? I wonder how much faith Adam they have in Kershaw.
No,
I don't think you would see him, out of the pen here. I mean, they have a solid, obviously, 1 through 4, and Kershaw, I realize, is not a part of that. But in terms of putting him in, it just depends. I mean, it's got to be, I think, really a perfect situation. This guy he's at the end. We know, like he's retiring at the end of the year, and so. And I think it's been a very up and down season for him, expectedly for guys of his advanced pitching age on the mound there. You don't want to put him into any situation, even despite his historical pedigree, which in the postseason historically obviously is not awesome. You don't want him to be out there in a situation that could sink you.
All right, we'll put the baseball aside for
Gabe,
the second.
do you see it any differently? You're the big Dodger guy.
Oh, there's not a hope in hell Kershaw's pitching tonight. I have a better chance. I have the same chance. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, just because. When's the last time that Kershaw pitched in the playoffs? He pitched 1 inning and he got lit up.
Milwaukee. Right.
Yeah, they'll throw him in if, like, okay, put it this way.
Blowout.
If Kershaw pitches tonight, it means the Blue Jays are winning 13-4. You know what I mean? Like later in the game type deal. Sure. If this turns into some sort of circus game, but I wouldn't think that Snell was coming out of the game right away because he sort of had a rocky first inning there. But no, it'll be, if they're going to go to any starter, it'll be Emmett Sheehan after. And they do trust some of the guys in the bullpen, but we played half an inning here, guys. I'm not going to start worrying about bullpens yet.
No. Well, I'm going to see he's up to 29 pitches. I'll say this about Kershaw real quick. I don't think they would put him in a game that they're trailing 13-4 game. I mean, that's like embarrassing. Up 13-4, yes, but I don't know if they would do that. I think up 13-4 maybe are one last crack at it. If you're at home, you want to pitch in front of the fans, give you 3 batters. If things go sour, we're going to take you out right away. But he's, like you said, he's on the roster. So NBA, Adam.
So long as you have a close game, though, Gabe's point, you're not putting them out there. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. What do we do with these overs? 14-2. Now, a couple helped out by overtimes, but still, 14-2 is 14-2 over. Scoring is going through the roof. You got a bunch of crazy numbers again tonight. Everything was, I think, except for a couple of games, everything was 230 or higher tonight. I mean, it's nuts. So, I mean, do we just keep betting overs until it changes?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what the public's doing. I was looking at it earlier just in terms of, where is there not just an advantage like a 60-40 split. I mean like an emphatic 70-30, 80-20 or more. And, Cleveland, Brooklyn, San Antonio, New Orleans, Minnesota, LA. I know that game's coming up in a bit. Utah, Sacramento, Phoenix, Clippers, Golden State, Portland, like all these people are just betting up the number, expecting huge performances. The only one that I was able to get myself to, and I hope I didn't choose wrong because I realized tired legs obviously could be a factor, but I invested in the over in this Warriors game that we got coming up here in the next hour and a half, whatever it is at this point. You know, obviously they're coming off the overtime comeback win against the Nuggets, put up 137 points in the process. Steph Curry went crazy in that one, turning back the clock, fountain of youth, whatever you want to call it. He was awesome, had 42 points on 25 shots. Jimmy Butler, 21. Dubs made 18 threes, and they're going to continue to fire away. It's just part of the new age NBA that we live in, obviously, but the Warriors, you know, they're the reason for it. It's been going on for them for well over a decade. Warriors put up about 120 points in each of their games, 119 plus in each. 5 guys averaging in double figures at this point in time. I think the Blazers, pardon me, you know, a balanced offensive attack. You know, Jeremy Grant was really solid off the bench in their first game against Minnesota, dropped 29 in 28 minutes. 4 of the 5 starters scored in double figures as well. I just think, again, you're going to see a back and forth game. I'm not so sure you need an overtime to get you to the over here in this one. 227.5 feels a little light. Like you said, a lot of totals north of 230. I would have expected this one to be there as well, 230, 231. And if it had been, probably would have taken a step back. Maybe it would have been a stay away spot. 227.5, you know, I still see value, and that number's still universally out there right now.
The storyline of this game, obviously, is Chauncey Billups is no longer the coach. Right. So they have a new coach here with Thiago Splitter takes over tonight. There's always that coaches fired angle, coaches this angle. There's not a lot of coaches arrested angles. Like what's the ATS trend of a team? It's been so our coach got arrested. Wetzel, it's 4-0 after NBA coaches get arrested. So like I don't know, how do the Blazers react tonight? Right? It's like I can see them play well. Look, I actually think the Blazers win this game tonight. I think they'll be like, yeah, whatever. We knew that. I played these games myself. Whatever. Like,
I'd be surprised. Good job, Matt. Appreciate it.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to like squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. Thanks again, Adam Kaufman. Oh, two-run homer.
Here we go. Kiki Hernandez doing Kiki Hernandez World Series things. He singles home. Teoscar Hernandez. 1-0 Los Angeles Dodgers. Oh, but Blake Snell's pitch count is already high. Oh, they're in trouble. 1-0. 1-0 for the Dodgers. First and second, one out still right now.
Ooh, the kid was so good the first inning, man. It's amazing how things just flip, right? It's so dominant the first inning, and in the middle of the order here is putting a couple hits together here. So first and second, one out. This was after Muncy got a base hit, right, to lead off the inning? So
no, the inning's been going on for a while here. Like Will Smith led off with a walk, and then Teoscar Hernandez hit like a fielder's choice. So Will Smith was out at second. Teoscar was safe at first. And then Max Muncy singled, so we cashed our Max Muncy bet we gave you in the pickoff over 0.5 total bases. Then they were first and second, and then Kiki Hernandez just singled up the middle to drive in the run. So 1-0, first and second. And here's another guy that people bitched about. People saw the Dodgers this and the Dodgers that. Nobody wanted Tommy Edman. No one knew who Tommy Edman was, Scott, last year. Tommy Edman was a utility guy that was available from the Cardinals. The Dodgers pick him up, and he became the MVP of the championship series for them last year, right? So we'll see if Edman can keep this going, this year, because he was special in the playoffs last year with big hits and key moments like this.
Yeah. You keep getting the bottom of the order to produce, and that just brings the top of the order. Duh, I know that's obvious, right? But you want to get that at top of the order again, because eventually that top of the order is going to come through.
The bottom of the Dodgers order has been really good, though, Scott, this year, like in the playoffs. It's been good in the playoffs. Look, Ohtani's hitting, bro. Like, Ohtani hit 3 home runs in that game. Ohtani's hitting like 140 or something. You know what I mean? Like, Ohtani is, like, you saw he struck out like, 2 foot up to 214, exactly. He's up to 214, like. The Dodgers aren't like the top guys aren't Freeman. They're not tearing the cover off the ball, right? But Kiki Hernandez is sort of, Teoscar. They've gotten big hits. Andy Pages just sort of here and there. And then the thing is, like you talked about, like, oh, here's a tricky one. Wow. Baseball's a bitch, huh? Tommy Edman, Scott, squibs one down the third baseline, guys. But one of those, is it going to go fair or foul? It stays fair. Bases loaded, one out.
Wow.
Jay's got nothing out of that.
You can't really pick it up because you'll never throw them out, and you just hope the ball rolls out.
Well, it wasn't down the line, but it was just one of those squibs right down the line. And like I said right away, oh boy, like they were the second it hit the ground, Scott, the Jays were screwed on that. The ball was in nowhere's land.
Boy, how long is the leash, Gabe, for Savage? Doesn't sound like any of these hits are crazy. Like they're not crushing the ball,
No, the
right?
hard hit rate's not there. Yeah, you're right. But the control suddenly is a little bit of a problem. And when he's throwing the strikes, they're hitting it. They just sent the pitching coach out to talk to him.
It's funny. I was looking on Twitter, and someone sent out a tweet of Tommy Lasorda from 30 years ago in a World Series game or a playoff game, and one of the pitchers gave up like 3 hits like this, right? He was a lefty, and Lasorda's taking him out of the game already, right? And they had the audio. I guess he was mic'd up that game. And the pitcher's like, Tommy, come on, these hits are nothing. And Tommy's throwing F-bombs at him. What the F do you want me to do? What, are you kidding me? I don't care if they're hits or not. They're base hits. You're down 1-0. It was kind of funny. He was great. He was really great.
Tommy Lasorda was the most foul-mouthed, players didn't like him and liked him at the same time. They were like, God, he's a jerk. Like they were like, oh, he's an egomaniac, like jerk. But Scott, he told you what he felt. Like, you know what I mean? There was no games with Tommy Lasorda. He would tell you behind the scenes, man, you effing suck. You want me to leave you in there? Remember I told you the funny story? He did the interview with Keith Olbermann. Cal Daniels plays on a broken leg out there. I'll go to war with this guy anytime. He goes, I don't have the most talented guys, but I tell you what, my team has a lot of heart. And then the interview's over. And he goes to Keith Olbermann. He goes, I swear to God, Keith, Cal Daniels is the worst effing ball player I've ever managed in my life. He goes, you don't know how bad they are. He starts just ripping them, bro. He started, my pitchers suck. Like he's all like, he's effing terrible, goddamn effing terrible. It was like, whoa, bro. Like, it was like, oh, the real
completely different.
So I grew up a Dodger fan. I met Tommy Lasorda under weird circumstances, and it was one of those don't meet your heroes thing. I was like, man, that guy is kind of like whatever. But then I had him on. Then later on in my life, I became a talk show host and stuff. So I had Tommy on. And, you know, and you've interviewed a lot of people, but he was one of those guys, like, off the air. How long is this going to be? Yeah? Who is this? What station is this? Yeah? All right, I can give you 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And then, like, that's off the air to the producer, and then he comes on the air. Hey, Gabe, my friend, how you doing? He's like the nicest guy. Like, they're actors, guys. He's like a wrestler. He turns it on. He's like, he stayed for like 40 minutes, too. He talked and talked and talked. And then after he just hangs up, click, gone. Like, you know what I mean?
You know, he used to do something like
He's
that.
He's the only one,
me.
Scott. Sorry. You've seen the GIF. Remember, you've seen the GIF. Tommy Lasorda's the only one. He got Yuppie kicked out of the game in Montreal. The only time a mascot ever got kicked out of a baseball game. It was like a 22-inning game in Montreal, and it was going late, and Yuppie was a great mascot, Scott. So Yuppie came out, and he had like a nightgown on and like a sleeping hat on and everything. And he was sleeping on top of the Dodgers dugout, but it was aluminum, so it was making noise. Tommy Lasorda, being the jerk he is, flipped out, tried to like grab the mascot and stuff, went to the umpire and said, I want you to kick the mascot out, and they did. Look it up on YouTube. It's one of the funniest things ever. Like, the mascot looks all sad, and he's walking out with his pillow and stuff out of the stadium. Just gold. And remember, too, Tommy Lasorda attacked the Philly Fanatic once.
The Phillies. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, the Phillies. Yeah, Philly Fanatic. I remember that. He was trying to joke, and Tommy didn't have that. Yeah, I was going to say.
He had a Dodger doll. He had like a sex doll in a Dodger jersey.
Yeah.
God bless the old days, guys. It was a different era, man. So imagine the Philly Fanatics got like a blow-up doll in a Dodger jersey, and he's beating it up. And Tommy Lasorda runs out of the dugout and starts like, really like, what are you doing? And he's like going after the mascot. God bless the old days.
Yeah, he took it personal, you know, as you should. So.
Oh, he was the Dodger through and through.
Yeah. So we got the bases loaded, 2 outs now, as we did not get a...
and Ohtani is up.
Oh, we got Ohtani batting, though. 2 outs, bases loaded. You know what's going to happen while we're away.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to like squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. So, surprisingly enough, nothing happened. Ohtani actually grounds out with the bases loaded, so he's now 0 for 2. A chance to really kind of blow this thing open a little bit, blow it open, but little single, make it 3-0. But
it was a little early for the Hollywood ending. You know what I mean? Like already game 1, you're gonna get the Ohtani grand slam. Listen, I'm on the Dodgers and I bleed Dodger blue, but it almost would have been anticlimactic. Imagine, Scott, like the series, it almost would have felt over. I imagine it was 5-0 now, grand slam. It would have been like, well, like that Niner Chargers Super Bowl when Jerry Rice scored on the second play of the game. It's like, well, all right, this thing's over.
Yeah.
And I remember that one. It's like, well, maybe the Chargers have a chance. It's like, no. Like, it was literally the second play of the Super Bowl, guys. Biggest point spread ever in the Super Bowl. Like, the Niners were literally like 22-point favorites over the Chargers in the Super Bowl. And for the record, they covered. Humphries. They smoked them. Yeah, Stan Humphries. Bobby Ross was the coach. Yeah.
But yes, yep, former Georgia Tech guy. So 1-0
of all
Dodgers,
people, Scott. Like the thing about that, of all people, like the Chargers history, Dan Fouts, Eric Coryell, Phillip Rivers, Marty Schottenheimer, so many, like LaDainian Thomas and that day, like Kellen Winslow, so many great players, Scott. And we just talked. The one Charger. Stan Humphries and Bobby Ross. I guarantee you walk into a sports bar, the average jerk wouldn't know who Stan Humphries is. You offered him $1 million. He'd be like, true or false, Stan Humphries started in a Super Bowl. They'd be like, who? What?
Yeah. Name the Charger and head coach that went to a Super Bowl. And that combination never in them. You're right.
Not Dan Fouts, not Phillip Rivers, Stan Humphries and Bobby Ross.
Stan Humphries.
An option coach too, Scott. A guy that ran the option. No imagination.
Yeah, at Georgia Tech.
In college. The weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. Try to remember. Who did they beat? Do you remember? It was San Diego, obviously, back there. Who did they beat the Chargers in the
Your Dolphins.
Again? That was
I don't want to bring it up. Your Dolphins.
Actually.
Yeah. I have a good memory for this stuff, even though I'm not charged. But it was your Dolphins. It's one of those days. I kind of remember. I have a kind of great memory. That's like I even remember where I was that Sunday morning before the game and all that type stuff. And I did bet on the 49ers though in the Super Bowl. I wasn't dumb enough to take the Chargers.
Yeah, me too. I think it was like 16.5, 17. It was a big number.
It was higher. It was like 20. I think it was at 21, 22. It was high. We could look it up. It was high. It wasn't 17. It was even higher than that.
Yeah. I think it was like 46-22 or something goofy like that. They ended up winning. But it was never in doubt.
Super Bowl spreads used to be big. Remember the Patriots, Brady Super Bowl? Yeah, they were 14-point underdogs against the Rams.
Yeah.
The Packers and the Patriots
Jets,
Super Bowl, the Packers.
That was 14.
Packers, remember with Desmond Howard, 14, and landed on a push. Remember it was the famous Super Bowl push.
Yeah. Yeah, there has been a few lopsided ones. But to go to good old Stan Humphries. How about that? All right, so Dodgers laying 2-1 right now. Let's see, Toronto's got to run around base. So Snell's not. Look, again, this is the regular season Blake Snell, but that's okay. If he even goes 6 innings, if you get 6 innings out of him, 100 pitches, that's
my bet
in the world.
Yeah. Hoping that he does exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's your bet.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I think you're bang on there. I think ideally they would have preferred, hey, let's Snell go 8 and put Sasaki in, right? For the 9 type of deal, if that was the ultimate what they would like, but they're not going to rush to the pen, right? He's at 38, whatever. It's the end of the season, Scott. Like he's got one more start after this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not there's the World Series on the line here, and you know as well as I do, Snell. He hates getting taken out of games too.
Yeah.
And we know that's Tampa fan. Like
we know that
he wasn't happy about the 8th inning in the last one, right? Like so. Yeah. After everything, he's got a leash here. He's got a leash, Yeah.
Especially now with a lead, if it stays that way. Couple of potential upsets. One major one in college football. I don't know if you did any college football tonight, but North Texas, I played their team total over 43.5. They're tied with Charlotte right now. North Texas
and a low-scoring game, too. 17-17 by their standard. You know what I'm saying? But,
right.
You're right. Look, put it this way. They were favored by 26 points, and they only have 17 points at the half.
Yeah. Tied against Charlotte. Charlotte lost to North Carolina.
Terrible.
Belichick, for goodness sakes. They're awful.
They're bad. Scott, honestly, I think Charlotte, there's 136 teams this year. I think Charlotte's like 130th type deal. Like they're that bad. Like they're one of the worst teams in the country type thing. They're bad.
They're like Akron, UMass in that category.
Yeah.
And 17
Come on, North Texas are 26-point favorites on the road. That's all you need to know. About Charlotte. I like this Cal team, Scott. I like Cal were live tonight up 13-10.
Yeah, I like that. I took them plus the 6.5.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Hour number 2 of our 2-hour extravaganza. We got Baseball World Series Game 1. We got college football opposite picks coming up. Paul Stone will join us in about 15 minutes. We'll get some college picks from him as well. A couple college football games tonight, NHL, NBA, the whole kit and caboodle. Baseball, though, the main story. 1-0 Dodgers.
What
do you got?
I've got a CFL pick too, but I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it in the next segment. There's CFL tonight, which the Canadian Football League, that's just doing great in the ratings in Canada tonight, huh? Going up against the World Series and the Blue Jays. I give credit to the pregame show host, the girl tonight, Scott. She opened up the pregame show. Hamilton Tiger Cats versus the Ottawa Red Blacks. It was like a last game of the regular season. Ottawa's won like 3 games all year. It's like drag of a game already to begin with. Playoffs start next weekend. She goes, welcome to the game that everybody in the country is talking about. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Ottawa Red Blacks, right? And she laughed. She goes, for those of you that don't like baseball, we're going to be here, right? But the CFL's got to wrap their season up. And I do have a pick I'm on this game, but I got a pick for the next game coming up. And I can report right now to everybody. Touchdown, Cal now up 20-10 on
nice. I didn't get why they were a 6.5-point dog. I think Gabe. Listen, I know flying from West Coast to East Coast and vice versa is tough, right?
They've been pretty good at it, Scott. But they're one of the teams. They've been pretty good at it, if you notice.
They've done it a couple of times now, and you get used to it. It's not easy, but these teams aren't flying Southwest Airlines like you and I, right? It might not be a chartered, but it's pretty good. It's first class. So,
what is weird, Scott?
Now.
The Midwest kids seem to struggle more going west than the West kids do going east for whatever reason.
Right.
I don't know what it is. Look at Michigan, bro. We're 1-12 now, bro. And the last 1-11, 1-12, last 13 West Coast games. Like, you see it. Like, USC have gone on the road and won. Like, we've seen, the Ducks have gone on the road and won and stuff. It seems like when these Midwest teams go, like, just quickly tomorrow, I'll throw it out there. Mookie Betts just walked for the record to lead off the inning. So your Savage is suddenly starting to labor a little bit. But Illinois and Washington tomorrow, Scott. My main angle, I know it's simplistic, but Illinois, I don't think Illinois is going to travel to Seattle well here. Illinois has been playing a lot of these games at home against West Coast teams. Like, payback's a bitch. Sort of like, you know what I mean? It's going to catch up to them. Like, Michigan lost by 10 in Seattle last year. Michigan rolled Washington in Ann Arbor this year. I think, this stuff actually does matter in the Big Ten.
Yeah. It's weird. It really should be gamed the other way around. Because the East Coast and Central time zones are
they're losing the 3 hours, the kids.
But the West Coast guys coming east are losing. Yeah, they're losing 3 hours. So it really should be that the West Coast going East Coast.
You know what it is, though? I've got a theory and an angle for you here. The West Coast kids are used to flying already. Not that the Midwest kids aren't. Like, think of the SEC. The SEC don't even get on a plane, Scott, barely.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, they're all right beside each other. You know what I mean? All right, you're going to fly to Texas and Austin. Like, there's a few, but, like, you're, like, literally taking buses and stuff most of the time. Big Ten, you're taking planes, but, all right, you know what I mean? It's very, Detroit to Columbus.
It's close.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Detroit,
yeah, they're 40-minute
Indiana,
charters on private
Illinois.
jets, like you said. They're private charter jets on hour flights, whatever. It takes the kids longer to get to the airport on the team bus, right? The flights are nothing. Think of the West Coast, though, Scott. Like, even like USC, they're used to this. Like, USC were flying around even in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 was so spread out before, you ain't taking buses. You know what I mean? They're sort of used to playing in weirder spots and flying around and traveling more.
Yeah, it's a different thing. It really is. So, all right, so Dodgers got a little something going, but I did like Cal. Would I bet them now up 10? I think they do win. This Virginia Tech team, they shouldn't be favored over anybody. They've got an interim head coach. The coach is already fired, and what they were doing is a 6.5-point favorite. I don't know, but I think Cal.
They'd be lucky to get James Franklin. It'd be a good fit for Franklin too, because what's the expectation at Tech, right? If you go 9-3 at Tech, they'll build a statue. They did for Frank Beamer. Yeah. Beamer never really won anything. I know he went to the fight. He went to the championship game once with Michael Vick. Yeah. Another walk. So it's a problem for you, Savage. Struggling. I think, Scott, adrenaline in the first inning. The kid was fired up, and all right, the Dodgers are fired up. They swung, whatever. They swung early. The Dodgers are making the kid work for it right now, and he's up to 54 pitches. It's not coming easy for him. He's just walked the first two batters of the inning. And now you got Will Smith, and Will Smith is a real load to deal with. Like, Will Smith is known for having one of the best eyes in Major League Baseball. And he's a catcher that gets along with umpires, so they give him a lot of respect up there.
Right. What do you give him, one base hit? And then they got to have somebody warming up, right, Toronto? At this point,
right on cue. They're showing the bullpen right now. Braden Fisher is up for the Jays, so they got someone up and working right now.
All right.
Braden Fisher. 0-2 count on Will Smith.
All right. Probably has two batters, I would say. Base hit, if it happens, 2-0, and he probably gets one more batter. But it can't be much more than that.
I know the term professional hitter is oxymoron. He's a professional hitter. They're all professional hitters. They're professional baseball players. But the term professional hitter is sort of like a pros pro type thing. Like, the Dodgers have professional hitters, Scott, and it's one after another. So I think if you're a Savage, you're all happy. It's like, oh, hey, look, I just got Ohtani out. It's like, yeah, well, now you're facing Mookie Betts, kid. And then it's Freeman. And then it's Will Smith. And then it's Oscar Hernandez. And it's Max Muncy. And they're all good. Like, you know what I mean? And they're all going to make you work for it. Like, so it's sort of compounds. I think the ump just screwed you, Savage. I thought that was a strike. I'm surprised it wasn't. So we got a full count right now. That was a strike.
Bottom of the Dodger order is hitting the lower half. 286,
give me
262,
let's pause. So who are they?
306. Pye's the only one that's struggling at 083. But the other guys are hitting 300. Edmonds hitting 306. Or Kiki's hitting 324.
And Pye's number isn't there, Scott, but he'll come up with a sacrifice flyer to hit. He'll make contact when he has to. Dodgers score. They get the single. They got Freeman in a rundown, though. Some bad base running again tonight. But we got a 2-0 game. Dodgers up 2-0. They're chipping away on you, Savage, here.
Yeah.
It's what the Dodgers do, man. Slow death. It's like a slow sort of, they cut your throat, Scott. It's like the blood of dread. You know what I mean? The drop of blood. Like, they just chip away on you, man. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, we're losing 3-0. Oh, no, God, now. Now watch Snell will get better, Scott. Now he's got a little bit of a lead, too. You know, Snell just got a little, like, adrenaline shot in the dugout. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. All right. I can win this game. We got this. Like, okay, it's my game now. Let's go.
There were
so you got first and second.
230.
No, 2-0. My bad. Sorry. What's the number now?
No, I was going to say, what do you think it would be if they win tonight?
Oh, the series price?
230 going in. Yeah. 4-1.
350. 350. Yeah. 350. 375.
Yeah. It's 320.
They're going to abandon
right now.
ship on the Jays. So, look. So we got a 2. Yeah, bingo.
100 points.
Wow.
With a 2-0 lead. It'll be 4-1. I bet it'll be more than 350.
Wild, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then suddenly the 1.5 will be like minus 180. They're gonna scream. They're gonna pinch people on it. Yeah, because
you're not gonna get 250 back or 260 back with Toronto. No. It's gonna be all juice.
No, but I'm talking the minus 1.5 Dodgers on the series price was minus 115 coming into tonight. It'll swing because that'll be the next thing people will run to. Okay, I'll take the Dodgers minus 1.5 now.
Yeah.
Because people did like the Jays, and it wasn't a dumb take. Like, the Jays are a good team. Right? No. It wasn't like, oh, you're crazy. Like, the Jays, I feared the Jays more than the Yankees, Scott. Like, last year, I was like, we'll beat the Yankees. Like, this year, I'm a little nervous about the Jays, to be honest.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I know it's goofy. It's only my podcast game, but we gave out a free contest, right? So you had to pick the main one was pick the winner. And at about 50 entries, it was 50-50. I was shocked. I thought it was
Jays,
like 40-10. Yeah, it was a surprise. So, yeah, we're down 2-0 right now. Paul Stone, college football, Paul Stone Sports, joins us next.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. We got college football opposite picks coming up in about 10 minutes. First up, let's talk a little college football with a good buddy, Paul Stone from paulstonesports.com, paulstonesports.com. Pretty good slate of games, Paul, tomorrow in college football. We got a couple going on right now, as a matter of fact. But let's just start in the SEC. You know, the one that kind of jumps off for me, believe it or not, is Alabama, just because I was one of the fools that wrote them off. Not that they were going to be bad, but when you lose to Florida State, you think, beginning of the end here. But it turns out that, they've rattled off, nothing but wins since then. They're laying 11.5 on the road at South Carolina. Who do you like in that one?
Alabama, since losing at Florida State 31-17 in that season opener, I think you could make the argument, maybe other than Ohio State and perhaps Indiana, they've been as good as anybody in the country. And the reason being, Ty Simpson, their quarterback, man, he has been spot on since that opener. South Carolina, it's a lot of points. If I was forced to play it, I would probably take the double digits, but it's not one on my card. It's just a little bit, a little bit too many points for me to lay with Alabama. I don't really have great confidence with South Carolina.
A little pricey.
What's up with Lenore Sellers, real quickly? He's thrown for more than 210 yards one time. Paul, one time in 7 games. I mean, he was supposed to be the top pick, maybe top 2, 3, 4 pick in the NFL, and it's just bottomed out for him this year.
Yeah, I tell you.
He still is the second choice, Scott, to be the top pick of the draft. So whether he puts up big numbers or not, he hasn't bottomed out as far as the NFL draft is concerned.
And they've had the same problem last year. Yeah, they had the same problem last year with Lenore Sellers. He just doesn't have any weapons. They don't have a good offensive line. They don't have any weapons. They've got Nick Harbor at wide receiver, a guy who's just an incredible physical specimen, a sprinter, but he's just not he hadn't turned into that number one receiver they hoped he would be. And he doesn't have any weapons there. And he's running for his life. And, it's not all, maybe not all the offensive line's fault, but I just think he's, lacking for.
It's very Spencer Rattler-like. Let's call it out for what it is. Spencer Rattler, when he was there, the same thing. For the last year Rattler was there, he ran for his life, Scott. They don't have any talent. Right. They peaked like 2 or 3 years ago with the talent. And then people got all Beamer this, but they don't really have anybody. But I wanted to get to the Missouri game. I know you're looking at the game, Paul. Listen, we're not there yet, but me betting over 6.5 Missouri win totals, and it was my biggest win total bet of the year this year in college football, might be a genius bet. They're 6-1 right now. But the schedule gets trickier here. My question to you is, Missouri can really only run the ball. Bo Prabula can, they're still rudimentary throwing the ball. Vanderbilt's strength is stopping the run. It almost seems like Missouri don't have a hope in hell in this game, to be honest with you. Back-to-back road games, going into Vanderbilt. But how come the number isn't higher in this game? There's something weird about that everybody loves Vanderbilt in this game, but the number's just sitting there at a field goal. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I actually made the number 5.5, so I think it's a little bit low. But like you mentioned, Missouri, they played their first road game last week, escaped 23-17, defeating Auburn. Now they've got to go on the road for the second straight week. They've had back-to-back games basically go down to the wire against Alabama and Auburn. And I like Diego Pavia. I mean, I think there's a decided advantage here at quarterback. You mentioned Bo Prabula. I just think Pavia's better. I mean, he's a guy. He's got that Diego Pavia effect. Prabula's thrown 2 interceptions in each of Missouri's last 2 games. So as the competition stiffened against Alabama, 2 interceptions, and then 2 interceptions against Auburn. So if Vanderbilt holds serve on the turnover margin category, I think they might get the victory. And I've played Vanderbilt -3, was 2.5 out there available as well.
How about Oklahoma, 5.5-point favorite over Ole Miss? 2 ranked teams, should be a pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of conversation there in swirling around the Ole Miss program, I should say, about the courtship of Lane Kiffin by the Florida Gators. That's an issue he's going to address with his team. He apparently is their first choice, so that's a distraction for Ole Miss. But I kind of like the Rebels here. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, first of all, so I like the under But I think Ole Miss, their backs are against the wall. This is kind of an elimination game for the playoffs. I love their quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss. I think they're going to keep it close and will be a low-scoring game. So I like Ole Miss plus the points, plus the 4.5 or 5, and the under. I think the total now down to 52.
They just don't win big games. He's like the SEC's James Franklin, to be honest. He recruits well. There's a lot of bling and flash, and then at the end, it's like, yeah, look, they're 9-3 again. Texas A&M going into Baton Rouge. You know, they basically just need to win the football game. The point spread's, 2.5, etc. This Aggie team, I like this Aggie team a lot, guys, coming into the year. I wanted to bet them to make the playoffs, but I got turned off by the fact it was only like plus 210 or something. I was like, man, the odds makers were on to the fact the Aggies could be this good this year. What do you think, Paul? Can they remain undefeated?
You know, it's going to be Tiger Stadium at night, obviously, which is going to be a tough environment. But LSU, man, they have struggled this year offensively. They have that great defense, but just hadn't had anything happen on offense. And now their left tackle, Tyree Adams, is going to be out. So they're going to be starting a new left tackle, going to be shuffling the offensive line around. And A&M just happens to have one of the best pass rushers in the nation in Cassius Howell. So as much as I would like to play the home dog LSU at night in Death Valley, I just think A&M's got too much talent for them. I think the Aggies probably get a victory. I like the under here as well. I think this will be a low-scoring game. LSU can't afford to get in a track meet with the Aggies. They obviously need to make it a rock fight. They only average a little over 60 plays a game, does LSU. So they play a slower tempo. They can keep the plays down, play great defense, maybe win the turnover battle. They can keep it low-scoring.
Real quickly, 20 seconds. Do your Longhorns, if memory serves me right, your pick to win it all this year. Do they cover 7.5 at Mississippi State?
I don't think they do, Scott. Their offense has struggled at such a high level, kind of showed a semblance of life against Oklahoma, but only 179 yards against Kentucky last week, 3.25 yards per play. Man, they're struggling. I like Mississippi State plus the point.
Cool. Paul, great job as always. Check out his website, paulstonesports.com. Thanks, Paul.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back, folks. You know what time it is. Take What are opposite picture newbies ask? Well, we give you 7 games, 7,000 reasons why we like one team, and then we go opposite. Why? Because despite all the stats, trends, hunches, injury reports, weather reports, systems, and everything else, nobody beats the boys in Vegas. Here we go. Week number 9 of the college football season. We'll start with Virginia laying 10.5 against North Carolina. Even the 3 people who thought the Bill Belichick experiment in North Carolina was going to be successful are now admitting it's a colossal disaster, right? North Carolina's got 1 win over an FBS team. Go back to last year, they're 1-10 against the spread. Their last 11 home games. They're 5-17-1 against the spread. Their last 23 games overall. 6-1 Cavs. Meanwhile, own NC 6-2 against the spread. Last 8 versus the Heels. Love North Virginia laying the 10.5. Yeah, give me North Carolina plus the 10.5. Pick number 2, game we just talked to Paul about. Alabama laying 10.5 against South Carolina. We're high on Bama. Tied 5-0 against the spread last 5 games on grass fields. They won 6 straight since their opening season loss. 3-4 South Carolina is not going to stop that streak, folks. Lenora Sellers has thrown for more than 210 yards 1 time. His fault or not, they can't move the football. Love Bama here. Give me South Carolina plus the 11.5. Pick number 3, Navy laying 13.5 against Florida Atlantic. Midshipmen surviving a scare 2 weeks ago in a 1-point win over Temple. They've had a week off, though, to correct any issues they may have had. Here's the key. They lead the nation in rushing, over 300 yards a game. So what? Well, Florida Atlantic is one of the worst defensive rushing teams in the nation. They allow over 177 yards on the ground. And to put that into perspective, god-awful Temple and UMass, even Oklahoma State, allows less than what Florida Atlantic does. This is going to be a run over. Navy wins 41-14. Give me Florida Atlantic plus the 13.5. Pick number 4, Texas Tech laying 36.5 against Oklahoma State. Yeah, Mike Gundy was the problem. Okay, you know what? This team has quit. They've given up 40 points or more in 3 of the 4 games that they played since Gundy was fired. You talk about quitting. Tech might put 60 on the board after they lost last week to Arizona State, so you know they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. And we buried the lead. Oklahoma State, a money-burning, computer-crashing, internet-freezing, cell phone out of power, 1-15 against the spread their last 16 games. They blow, even with the boys in Vegas. Give me Oklahoma State plus the 36.5. Pick number 5, Memphis getting 5.5 against South Florida. Memphis got caught looking last week, losing outright to UAB in the coaches fired system play. They might not have their starting quarterback either, but that's okay. The backups are okay, and Memphis is at home where they've won 10 straight, folks, and now we're getting points. Love Memphis plus 5.5. Give me South Florida minus 5.5. Pick number 6, LSU laying 2.5 against Texas A&M. I got the full dope on Texas A&M. While they may be undefeated, they're only 2-8 against the spread their last 10 games on a grass field. LSU, meanwhile, get a load of these numbers. 14-0 straight up, 13-1 against the spread at home before a bye week, which this is. And outside of wins against Notre Dame, look at A&M and who they've beaten, folks. No Georgia, no Alabama, no Texas, no Tennessee, no Ole Miss. They've beaten a bunch of Mississippi State and Auburns of the SEC. LSU rolls at home. Give me Texas A&M plus the 2.5. Pick number 7, Rutgers laying 1.5 at Purdue. Yeah, both teams stink. I get it. But PU stinks a little bit more than RU. PU has lost 5 straight. They have 1 win over an FBS team this season. So that makes it now 1 win in their last 16 FBS games going back to last year. They stink. Also, they might not have their starting quarterback. Not that he's any good. And RU is 4-1 against the spread their last 5 road games. I mean, you'd be the biggest bird brain, dumbass, dunce, thicko, wacko, nutcase, airhead, nincompoop, ratbag, simpleton, madman, nutcase, crackpot, jackass in the world to put American money on Purdue. Give me Purdue plus the 1.5. Opposite picks.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Hey, Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 2. So college football opposite picks are in. Quick little update. Nothing happening so far with the baseball as far as still 2-0 Dodgers heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. So that's what I like tomorrow, Gabe. I really do like the card tomorrow. There were probably 10 others I could have put on my opposite picks. Who do you like tomorrow? Early initial thoughts.
You went with some random games, though. I saw you have FAU on your card. And,
yeah, Navy, Purdue, Rutgers.
You were flying on the radar. Listen, Rutgers 6-1 to the over, right? It went over again last week. It fell short once. It fell short once on the season. I can tell you, Savage is coming out of the game. So the Dodgers are pitching right now, but John Schneider and everyone in the dugout just went over to him. So there's going to be a pitching change. His strikeout prop was 5.5. He finishes with 5. Finishes with 5. As far as the early morning card tomorrow, Scott, I've been so into the baseball, really as a fan, as a bettor. I've been so encompassed in the World Series, but I do like the card tomorrow. But I got some more higher profile type of football games I'm looking at. Listen, guys, Oklahoma are 10-2 on the money line in their last 12 first halves. They're a very strong starting team. And Ole Miss are 5-6 on the money line in their last 11 games in the first half. So, in other words, basically Ole Miss in those 5 games, when they're playing a crap-ass team, they're up at the half. But when they play SEC teams, they're not. And it's 5-6 in their last 11. So, I like the Sooners in the first half. You can lay the 3. You can play the money line. I'm going to go with Rutgers, Purdue. I'm going to go over the number in this football game. Scott, I'm going to ride the UCLA wave, actually. You know, I get it. It's crazy. It's, you know, oh, my goodness.
Home run.
Dalton Varsho just tied the baseball game. We got a 2-2 game.
Wow.
Wow. Things have changed in a hurry here, huh? 2-0 to 2-2.
Wow. Now there's my one home run for the game.
Too. He smoked it, too. Like, it was like deep center field, high, boom. Wow. 2-2. Blake Snell was cruising along as well. And then just like that, we got a 2-2 just like that. Man, it's always the guys you would expect, Dalton Varsho. That's the thing that's made the Jays, man.
Yeah, the guy who started the game was Fatso Kirk. I tell you, this guy looks like a bowling ball, but I tell you, he could swing a bat. He almost homered, too, before Varsho did. He went off the wall. So
yeah, and Kirk's only hitting like 222 in the playoffs, but he comes up with big, you know. Same with Springer. The Jays are deceptive, some of their guys, where their averages aren't good, but they're really good hitters, and they're a load to deal with. So there it is, Varsho. But for the true D-Jans, and I don't know too many people are going to be betting, you know, people are betting the CFL game or, you know, few and far between, but there's a CFL game kicking off in a couple of minutes here. The Edmonton Elks are eliminated from the playoffs. Calgary are not. Calgary are in the playoffs, but they don't know where they're playing yet. But Edmonton are going to be playing they're playing with house money, guys. Right? And they said basically, we're going to have fun tonight. We want to win for our home fans. So I think they're a very live dog. I think they can win the game outright, but give me the points with the Edmonton Elks. Give me the points with the Edmonton Elks tonight in this game. I'm with you, Scott, with Boise State. I think they're going to murder Nevada. So I'm going to lay 12.5 in the first half with Boise. I'll lay the 21.5. I got a 21 in the game. I'm going to go over the 51. And we got an NBA pick for everybody on the way out here. The Timberwolves, I think, are going to beat the Lakers tonight. Give me the Timberwolves on the money line to beat the Lakers.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the road teams. I got a feeling this Portland team's going to be a mess. I like Golden State laying the 3. I know they played overtime last night. I like the Teacups as well over the Lakers. Until the Lakers show me a little something, you look at their roster, it's not good. You know, especially obviously without LeBron. And Minnesota's one of those teams when they bring the
but I thought Luka Doncic was this mega superstar that, like, it's, you know, it's his team.
Yeah.
He's a stat guy, so whatever. Like, Luka, he's going to put up 35, 40. There's not enough scoring from everyone else on the Lakers. My whole beef with Luka is, does he make people around him better? No. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's some guys that are real stars. It's like everyone else is better because he's so good, and it just makes life everyone easier. No, Luka's great, but he doesn't make everyone else great around him. And you're right, that Laker roster, bro, lacks a lot to be desired, especially on defense.
Yeah. You know, I just go back to it. You know, you need a guy like Kyrie. Like, that should have been a great fit if Kyrie ever could have stayed healthy. Like, you know, Luka, you're going to get your points, but you're not going to be the whole focal point of this team. You know, we got another guy that can bring the ball up the court and help out a little bit. And just
yeah. And think, Scott, him and LeBron are the same player essentially too. They both walk the ball. You know what I mean? They can play off each other. They could put points up, but it's flawed, right? It's flawed. Like the Lakers are flawed even when LeBron comes back.
One game in the books already, Gabe. Milwaukee 122, Toronto 116. 138 or 238 points. It went over. We're now 15.
It went over. Wow. I haven't been riding the wave all that much either, to be honest with you. I can't lie. Like, I've had a few of them. I've had a few of the overs, but I haven't been hitting every NBA game over or anything like that.
Hawks Magic, unless it goes to overtime, and it might, 5 seconds left. But that's only 109-107. So that one's, you know, again, it could go to overtime, but that's at least on pace for an under. Cavs Nets are going to go over. They're at 115 points, and there's 9 minutes left. Celtics Knicks, that might go under. You know, there were 9 minutes left, and they're at 165. The other ones, they seem to be a little bit lower tonight.
The Blazers and Warriors, I think, goes over, Scott. It's 228. The Blazers are a really young team, right? And their coach just got arrested, and so they have a new coach tonight. I don't think the coach is going to be yelling at them to play they're not going to be yelling to play defense, Scott. Exactly. Like, they're a young team, and it's going to be like, all right. And what are the Warriors? An older team. The Warriors just played last night. So just from a tactical standpoint, if you're Portland, it's like, all right, let's try to run Curry into the ground. You know what I mean? Let's just run up and down the court, Jimmy Butler, etc., and Draymond Green. Are they all even in the damn lineup, or we already have load management, Scott? Let me double check this, to be honest with you.
Oh, that would be awful. That would be a bad look for the NBA. Like,
bad look for the NBA. They just got arrested yesterday.
I know, right?
But,
guys, I said that, on the podcast today. Like, this is nothing new. We've seen games purposely tank. We've seen teams rest 2, 3, 4 players.
Yeah, so what's the difference? That's a good point.
What's the difference, right? I mean,
organizations tank. You're right.
Yeah.
The owner of the Miami Dolphins fired the coach for not losing. Think about that.
Yeah, right?
Guys, he got mad at Flores. He called Flores and he said, listen, we want to have a top 3 pick in the draft. Flores said, yeah, okay, all right, and walked out of the office and kept on winning games. And then he called him in again and said, I don't think you understood me. Like, he basically, without being like a mobster, without like incriminating him, he didn't say like, I need you to lose, but it was very well made. Like, listen, you're upsetting our program here by doing this, by trying to win. And they ended up firing the guy. See, you're right. It's a little bit, there's a lot of hypocrisy, Scott. Let's just be real. Like,
yeah, that was the Joey B draft. That was the Joe Burrow draft. And they had Josh Rosen, who they acquired from Arizona, who absolutely sucked, right? And then they took him out of the lineup. He was so bad. And then they started Fitzpatrick. So you had the built-in, just start Rosen. That's all for the last 2-3 games. That's it. Lose all those games. And this mope tried to win the football games, and he did. And we lost to Joey Burrow.
I think Jimmy Butler's out, Scott. Just for the record, I'm pretty sure he is. I'm going to confirm you.
That is so bad. That is so bad. Again, you're crazy. You're amazed about all these other little scandals.
It's one of
these guys do this all the time.
It's one of these deals like the Warrior prop, Scott. There's only like 3 players up.
Wow. That's pathetic.
I'm going to their website. Like, this is the NBA. So what? A game starting in 20 minutes. Can I find a damn starting lineup? All right, here we go. So, no, Butler's playing.
Okay. How long?
Butler is playing.
Who knows?
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to like squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. Like, I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, like, hey, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on the way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe checking out all the action, including obviously World Series Game 1. So it's 2-2 now as the Dodgers bat in the top of the fifth inning. It's basically back to where it was. Dodgers minus 128, a little bit of a discount here. They got a runner on base now. Over-under is
just
8.5.
singled.
All right, there you go. Good job
After
there.
a Shohei Ohtani strikeout. So Ohtani strikes out again. He's struck out 2 of the 3 times that he's been up so far tonight. It's funny, too. The odds makers are onto it. Ohtani's prop tonight, his total strikeout prop was over under 1.5. It was slightly to plus money, but, yeah, like, they were expecting him to strike out 2 times, etc. Like, it's not 0.5. I'm a Dodger fan. I would hammer it because he strikes out all the time. Like, he crushes the ball, but he's striking out a lot.
Yeah, he's got to have 20-plus this postseason. He has to. He gets 2 a game. He literally does. So let's bring in our good buddy Cam Stewart. You see it here all the time. Works with Gabe on Saturdays and Sundays. What's going on, Cam? How are you on this Friday night? Little baseball, little college football. We got some hockey, little NBA. What's going on today?
Oh, no. Just watching this World Series game, Scott, and it's amazing it's still 2-2 with all the runners left on base on both sides. Gabe's right. This umpire's all over the board right now. Ball calls when they should be strikes. And very interesting. I see a live total 8.5. It's going to be a bullpen game from now till the rest of it. Fluharty's in for the Jays. You know what? I kind of like that over 8.5, guys. 4-4 game, and 9 runs will get you there. So that's what I'd be looking at live in this World Series game. Crazy stuff. Didn't expect Varsho to go deep, but a lot of wasted opportunities, I guess, on both sides. A lot of runners stranded. And what can you say about Kiki Hernandez? He keeps on doing it in the postseason for the Dodgers.
Who'd you have in the series going in? And
the Blue Jays. I'm betting the Blue Jays. I got the Blue Jays plus 1.5 money line, over 7.5 to start the game.
Now, is that
they're in it right now.
Toronto fan? Yeah.
Sorry?
So
they're in it.
Yeah, I mean, they're in it now.
Is he a Toronto fan?
So,
of course he's a Toronto fan.
I know you're a Toronto fan, but is that based on you being a Toronto fan, or do you legitimately think Toronto?
I legitimately think they can. I legitimately think they can win. I think the Dodgers have a little more depth, obviously offensively. Their starting pitching's a little bit better. We haven't seen their bullpen yet. Everyone's talking about their bullpen. They say they come in and they shut them down. So, but that's the big storyline. Oh, you can get to the Dodgers bullpen. I just believe the Jays they're playing with house money right now. They look good. Bo Bichette came in the game. It was a kind of a bleeding single, but he's there. Scott, I think it's a very evenly matched series. The Dodgers might have a couple better players, but yeah, I legitimately believe the Jays can win. I took them in 7, and the one bet over 5.5 games was only 50 cents. So if I believe this series is going to 6, that was the bet that I hit the hardest in this series. I think it's going to go 6 or 7 games for sure.
Play any other props in the series for tonight or for the series?
For the series, I took.
Damn. Freddie I thought it had a shot. Freddie Freeman smoked one to deep warning track territory, but I don't know. Off the bat, it seemed like it was pretty hot, but it slowed down through the air. I don't like, too, ironic, Cam, the score bet. The score, I never would have imagined, like, from 20 years ago, from what the score was to now, they're getting the World Series publicity. They're all over the World Series wall right now. Score bet. So they're getting a big pop tonight with a global audience. Fluharty coming out of the game right now, so they're really starting to manage the bullpens.
Wow. This is what
they
Schneider
wanted
does
Fluharty.
too. Mm-hmm.
They wanted Fluharty to face Ohtani. And Scott, I brought it up off the top of the program. There was a difference of 1 game between these two, and they played each other this year 3 times. The Dodgers won 2 of the 3. But on the last day, the Sunday afternoon game in Los Angeles, the Blue Jays won, and I think they won by 1, whatever. Ohtani was up with the bases loaded, and lefty on lefty. Fluharty got him out. So they were talking, they wanted to get Fluharty in here to get you Savage out, to get Fluharty to at least face Ohtani, and it worked. He ended up striking him out. And Freddie Freeman as well. So let's give credit. You talked about it earlier, Scott, and you said, yeah, you're not the biggest, Schneider. Schneider's never gotten credit for being the biggest, the guy's not the biggest, smartest guy in the world. But give him credit. They have been thinking 2 steps ahead, the Blue Jays, right? We want to do this. We're going to do that. We want to get Fluharty in against Ohtani again. And everything, they're pushing all the right buttons right now. We'll give them credit for that.
And I will say, Gabe, just when you watch this team play, Pete Walker has so much, the pitching coach, and Schneider, if you look, Walker is like very involved. That's the thing. People don't understand. Like, if you're watching the Blue Jays, and I do, Scott, no pitching coaches involved, more with Schneider. And Schneider's not afraid to say, hey, Pete, what do you think we should do? And Walker's pushed a lot of the right buttons.
Well, good call, Cam. He's almost like a manager with the pitchers. Like, he handles the pitchers,
Yeah, guys, I think we're going to have more runs in this game on both sides. The Jays didn't get to Snell in the first inning. We're going to see bullpens. Hey, if we can get over 8 runs, guys, it's a winner, and I expect we got a lot of baseball left, guys. So that's what I would take in this game right now. I think, we're going to have more runs. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. So it's down to 7.5 on FanDuel, minus 138. Little juice to the
I'm
over,
on the under, Cam, so I hope you're wrong, just for the record.
Who knows if I'm going to be right? I'm just happy that it's a ball game. I was depressed before I came on the show.
I don't think, guys, we're going to get a crooked inning from anybody, right? So that's why I'm not sure there's still going to be a ton of runs here. I think, there'll be another 2-run shot. There's going to be a home run. All you need to know, guys, so what are we at now? We're, the Dodgers haven't home run, actually. No, I'm just saying the Dodgers haven't hit a home run tonight. I just saw it top of my head. So the Jays have. For the record, guys, this year in the playoffs, the team that hits more home runs than the other team is 24-5. Just throwing that out there. Last year it was 23-5. So it's already 24-5 right now. You hit more home runs, you win. So I hate to say it, like who hits the next home run is going to win the game almost.
Yeah, probably. I didn't expect Varsho out of everybody, Gabe. That guy wasn't on my list, but good on him. He went down and he caught that pitch, and this is going to be a great baseball game, guys. This is what we expect in the World Series. 2-2 game, bottom of the 5th. It's awesome.
Playing again, same thing, Toronto tomorrow?
We'll see what happens tonight, Scott. Yeah, I'm on them in the series. I'll probably take them. Like, to think they're going to win in 5, or 6 would be kind of like, I know Gabe and I had a guest on who thinks they could win in 6. I have them in 7, but yeah, I'll play them. Anytime I can get them as a dog, I'll play them.
Cam, good job, man. Appreciate it. Cam and Gabe tomorrow, noon Eastern time, right here on the grid. Thanks, Cam.
You just see Texas in any game, and again, Kentucky used to be able to put up points in the past. 43.5 is crazy because it just feels like Texas is going to come in, play really good defense, and try to squeeze this game out. It'll be interesting to see because nothing got ailed from that victory last week. Texas is back. I'm just being facetious at this point, but if we see one of those performances, 17-14 Texas
in the fourth quarter,
yeah, come on,
right? I mean, really? I mean, they got a gift last week.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. It looks like the Bengals fantasy pieces are back. What did you make of that Joe Flacco performance on Thursday night? Turning back time.
Yeah, it was great for a guy like me with gray in the beard. I love seeing it. I love my representation. But at the end of the day, just from a wagering standpoint, if this continues, it'll give some consistency and it'll give some value back to those tools that you were mentioning on the Bengals.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Defense is above average this year, and I think big picture they're going to be probably the most consistent moving forward. The problem I have is this guy, Trevor Lawrence, big picture. You got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the ugly sometimes is real ugly. He is not comfortable in the pocket on a consistent basis, and that's a problem.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
We've had an undefeated regular season a couple times in the NFL. The Patriots, of course, did it before losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants. The 72 Dolphins, of course, did it en route to a Super Bowl win. But to go winless is harder than to win every single game. And my New York Jets are well on their way to doing this.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, thanks again to Cam Stewart. Again, Cam and Gabe tomorrow from noon to 3. Then it's me and Ranieri from 3 to 6. So we got Springer with a base hit, bottom of the 5th inning, tied at 2. World Series action. Dodgers had a 1-0 lead, then it was 2-0, and now it is 2-2 after a home run by Varsho.
We got a game, man.
Yeah.
We got a real game. Like, this is serious. We had a 2-2 game, 5th inning. Crowd is obviously engaged. Blue Jays are confident. This is, like I said, I thought the Dodgers were too heavily priced in this series. And I get it. A lot of the Blue Jays are never on national television in the U.S., so I'm not going to begrudge people for not knowing them that well. You know what I mean? Unless you're a diehard baseball fan, you really won't know them. They haven't been on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball since 2017. Think about that. Like, they don't exist to most people. But they're good, right? They're good. You've got, like, your veteran guys, your Gossmans, your Scherzers. You got your stars and the Vlad Guerreros, the Bichettes of the world. But these unheralded guys that no one really knows, Scott, the Varshos, the Schneiders, the Clements of the world, these guys can ball, man, right? And you can just feel like they've got a swagger about them. Like, they're not intimidated by the Dodgers. Like, a lot of times, you know what I mean? Oh, like, remember the Brewer manager, he even upset the Brewer players a bit because he said, well, we're going to do our best and we'll see if we can even win a game, and they're better than us, obviously. And he was being sarcastic, but it came across kind of bad. Like, John Schneider basically said, like, we're not scared of them. They should be scared of us. Like, all the Dodger players were like, yeah, they're good. So are we. Fine, let's play. Like, they weren't kissing the Dodgers' ass coming into this. Let me tell you that.
It's a big game. Set the tone. My best of 3, Dodger 2-1 would be helped out if they won.
It's
like
63% of the time.
Yeah.
63% of the time, the team that wins Game 1, the World Series.
Wins it all. That's a decent amount, right? 63 versus 37. So basically every 2 out of every 3, whenever that happens. And that'll shoot it up. I don't know what the ratings will be like tonight, but against college football tomorrow, if the Dodgers would have won tonight, 5-2, 6-2, blowout, non-competitive, people might tune out. They are helped by the Blue Jays winning tonight. I will say, not that is determining anything.
The entire series is obviously, as it goes on, definitely. So, but like I said, the baseball's been doing well, Scott. I mean, the Blue Jays and the Mariners got 10 million people on Fox. So what the hell are the Dodgers and the Blue Jays going to get then, right? If the Mariners and Blue Jays got 10 million. I would expect, and I would never really say this, but I expect baseball to crush college football tomorrow night. They're going to be on at nighttime anyways. So they're going to be going against LSU and Texas A&M. They're going up against so LSU A&M is the big sort of ESPN, ABC game, and Michigan and Michigan State. I'm a Michigan fan, but whatever, dude. You know what I mean? They're playing Michigan State. They're 14-point favorites. They're going to cover, for the record. They're going to roll them. But that game's at 7:30 on NBC. So they're not up against, not like, oh, my God, it's Georgia, Alabama, and they're both undefeated. It's the game of the century type of thing or anything, right? So I think baseball will do well tomorrow night.
Yeah. I tell you, this goes in line with our Justin Herbert conversation from last night. When does it ever? Maybe the answer might be never, Scott. But, when do you start looking at Ohtani and saying, geez, man, you hit 205, you got 2 more strikeouts. I started counting it up. He's got close to 20 strikeouts in the postseason. It's just like, and now that Freddie Freeman's not exactly hitting the ball either. He's only,
but he's also got 5 home runs in 10 games.
Yeah, 3-1 though.
Coming into
right.
Yeah,
I know that's
what,
not,
3-1. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and he also had 10 strikeouts in the same game there. So, he should be hitting better. I'm not disputing it. I mean, it is what it is. But he does have 5 home runs in the 10 games. So you sort of hope that he crushes a home run every now and then. But I'd like to see them spread out, Scott, instead of 3-1, like you just said, sort of, right? I'd like to see them spread out. End of 5. So we're going to the top of the 6th inning, tied at 2.
Yeah. Another double play. What's that, the 3rd double play for Toronto?
Yeah.
At least 2. I know that. I think it's 3.
That's the 3rd.
Yeah. I mean, they've had their chances, man. Just like the Dodgers did in the 1 inning with the bases loaded. I mean, they've really had their chances. Snell's through 5, 84 pitches. Your number was, 6 innings, 17 and a half.
I need one more.
I think he's got to go back out there. I think you're all,
No, Dave,
I think he'll come out.
Yeah, Dave Roberts isn't picking up the phone. Even earlier when they showed when
Yeah.
Snell was struggling a bit, Roberts was stone cold. Like, there was no – he's better than what they have coming out of the pen, right? This is his game. You got a 2-2 game. It's fair. It's 2-2. We still got a game going here. But, yeah, hopefully I can squeeze one more inning out of this.
Yeah. Good job as always, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Gabe and I both back Saturday, him at noon, me at 3 p.m.